evaporate when people are forced to say, okay, I'm either buying or not buying. But with regard to Lightning, I think there's demand there, Jim. But I also think that the market right now, you have a lot of these pickup drivers who are saying, I'm ready to eventually go electric, but I'm not ready right now. I am telling you, when I've talked with dealers, Ford dealers have told me, it's not that people think the Lightning's a bad vehicle, it's that they think a more prudent choice is perhaps in the interim going to an F-150 hybrid, or still internal combustion is still popular, and the F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in this country.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Parts Talk. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, in a surprising move, well, it's not surprising to me or anyone who has been working in the automotive space and has been following the story, Ford has announced a reduction in the production of their F150 Lightning EV, opting to focus more on hybrids and internal combustion engines. Now, this decision has sparked speculations outside of those not in the know, but maybe raised eyebrows in the automotive industry. In this video feature, we will hear some of these compelling reasons behind Ford's strategic shift. But first, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button so you will be notified when I drop a new video. Now, without further ado, let's get into this feature.
Latest sign of slowing demand for EVs. Ford announcing it's reducing production of its F-150 Lightning. For that, we're going to turn to Phil LeBeau this morning. Morning, Phil.
Good morning, Carl. This is Ford announcing on April 1st that it will be cutting its production of the F-150 Lightning, going from 2 shifts, which it currently operates at its Rouge complex just outside of Detroit, where they build the F-150 Lightning. They're going to bring that down to 1 shift starting on April 1st. Some of those workers, about 1,400 impacted, they're going to be transitioned over to additional production for the Bronco and the Ranger. This is, if you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, didn't they just cut their guidance in terms of EV production? Yeah, they did that last month. Basically cut their 2024 production plan in half, and now they are saying we are going to be cutting Lightning production again. So if you look at Lightning sales last year as well as the year before, they did increase. It was the top-selling electric pickup truck, 24,000, just over 24,000 sold last year. But Ford said after they came out of the UAW contract, we're going to be deferring about $12 billion in EV investments. Not cutting it, but just not rolling it out as quickly as originally planned because the market is not developing as quickly as planned. So this is a prudent move by Ford.
And I think it's just sheer ignorance, because I'm going to show you and explain why in a further video. So please stick around, because despite the initial hype surrounding electric vehicles, consumer demand for the F-150 Lightning EV may not have met Ford's ambitious projections. By reallocating resources to internal combustion vehicles, Ford can adapt to a changing market and ensure optimal production efficiency. Let's continue.
If you don't have the sales there, you just can't keep building and building and building, shipping them out or trying to sell them to dealers who, by the way, when I've talked with dealers, they have all said the same thing, which is the demand right now when it comes to pickup trucks, first and foremost is for hybrid, then internal combustion engine, then for the Lightning. And that's a reflection of where the market is right now overall. Take a look at shares of Ford in the last year. We'll get the Q4 results on February 6th. And again, guys, while they are cutting this shift for Lightning production, they are increasing production for the Bronco and the Ranger. Why? Because that's where the market is right now. That's where demand is, as internal combustion engine vehicles and hybrids, especially hybrids, are in big demand right now, and Ford is in the best position of the big 3 when it comes to hybrid production.
Now, Phil, I applaud this because you can't keep making trucks that don't sell. But
no,
when I was
you're
out
absolutely
there,
right.
Right, I've been smart. But when I was out there in the spring, I thought there was a waiting list, and people were very excited about it. Small business people. What happened? They just all the ones who wanted it got it, and that was it.
I think it's not just all the people who got it, and that's it, Jim. I think it's a couple of things. One is increasingly, first of all, forget about this waiting list. I don't care who the manufacturer is. The next time you hear a manufacturer say, we've got scores of reservations, Yeah, that and a cup and 10 cents will get you a cup of coffee. It's easy for anybody to say, I'm reserving a vehicle. A lot of times they have...
This guy's just going and smoking. It's just the definition of insanity. Toyota already hit the ground running with their hybrid technology. 20 years going and has only increased and improved. It's visionary. Toyota is a visionary company. I can't fathom why the big three here will bow to the unrealistic requests from politicians and the EPA when all the data, statistics, and research has proven otherwise. It's just a definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And this is why I have a problem with some people at the top. They have no vision, they have no leadership skill, and they don't listen to the voice of the people, whatever the people want. So even Mother Nature has shown us a glimpse of what will happen to EVs in severe winter pressure. Let's continue.
Evaporate when people are forced to say, okay, I'm either buying or not buying. But with regard to Lightning, I think there's demand there, Jim. But I also think that the market right now, you have a lot of these pickup drivers who are saying, I'm ready to eventually go electric, but I'm not ready right now. I am telling you, when I've talked with dealers, Ford dealers have told me, it's not that people think the Lightning's a bad vehicle, it's that they think a more prudent choice is perhaps in the interim going to an F-150 hybrid, or still internal combustion is still popular, and the F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in this country. So that's the issue when it comes to the Lightning.
Wow, really amazing. You know something, Phil, that you're covering this business. It's very clear to me that it's almost as if, look, if we were talking about Euro politics, they cared about ESG, now they care about security. We talk about these things that people care about, the security of their workplace. The small business person, I think, is actually afraid that they might miss an appointment because they may not have enough electricity.
And when you see mainstream media is now getting in onto the subject of what we have been saying for the past year and a half, is that once it cuts into profitability and they're starting to hemorrhage, then they realize exactly what a mistake they have made. So the success of electric vehicles not only hinge on production, but also on the availability of robust charging, the robust charging infrastructure. So with infrastructure development lagging behind the rapid growth of electric vehicle adoption, Ford may be reassessing its EV strategy to align with the current state of infrastructure readiness. Let's continue.
Well, you've got to make sure that if you're going to use this as a work truck, that it truly can be within a confined area. The White House today out with an announcement in terms of more grants for investments in the EV infrastructure in this country. And yesterday they said we're going to put $150 million into improving or upgrading public chargers. Well, they need to, because it's a mess right now. The public charging in this country for EVs is not where it needs to be. And the White House knows that. And they want to get to 500,000 chargers by 26. They're at 170,000 right now. Not only do you need to add more chargers, Jim, you better make sure they're the right chargers and that they work. Because the number of times I've heard from people who have EVs saying, I don't want to take a road trip. I don't know where, aside from the Tesla superchargers, no complaints there. The complaints are on the other publicly charging ones.
And to confirm some of Ford's challenges, here's an article out of Kelowna. A small city in British Columbia says it needs a dedicated $12,000 charger, so its $97,000 EV Ford F1 Lightning pickup can last the entire day. Yes, you heard that right. And let me read this feature. It's rather short. It says here, the village of Vallemount says to properly serve the community, it requires a dedicated charger for its 2023 Ford Lightning F-150. The electric vehicle was purchased by the village last August. The $97,046.40 purchase was made possible through grant funding from Columbia Basin Trust's Charge Up program, $66,530 rather, and BC's local government climate action program, $30,516.40. While the Ford Lightning can be charged with a normal socket, village CAO Ann Yansu said it results in the vehicle's battery only receiving a partially charge when left overnight. The Ford Lightning has an extended battery, and the trickle charger that occurs through a 110-volt socket is not sufficient to fully charge it, Yansu said, quote unquote. Partially charged battery does not service throughout the entire hour workday. The installation of the dedicated charger will cost us about $12,392. According to Valemount Director of Finance Laurie McNee, the cost of the charger will be covered by the local government climate action program. More taxpayers' money. So the 2023 Ford Lightning was the second electric vehicle purchased by the village. In 2022, now get this, the village purchased an electric low-speed vehicle for use by public works in and around town. The two-seater tops out at 40 kilometers per hour and is not rated for highway driving. That vehicle was also fully covered by grants. More taxpayer money. You buy a vehicle that can't even go on the highway outside of a specific geographical region, and then you fork out another $97,000 to get an additional vehicle. Then you're going further again to ask for an additional $12,000 just to keep the vehicle up and running. And they're saying that we're hating on EVs when it's costing more to actually get these vehicles to do the basic things that they are built and required to do, is to run and to provide transportation. It's just absolute ridiculous. And to top it off, why Ford actually made this U-turn, here's another feature video. Check this out.
Top priority is to satisfy our customers.
Today, Ford announced it lost $3 billion before taxes during the past 2 years in the Model E unit. That's the electric vehicle unit. As it invests heavily in new technology, it expects to lose a comparable amount this year and doesn't expect to turn a profit until 2026. Until then, part of their challenge is getting consumers like those we talked to on board to increase revenue.
I spoke with automotive expert John McElroy, host of Autoline, who says every single car company in the world, not just Ford, is losing money selling electric vehicles, except for Tesla, which took 17 years to finally turn a profit.
The difference now with Ford is that Jim Farley has said, we're going to lay our cards out on the table. When we report our financial earnings, we're going to show you how much we're losing on our electric vehicles. No one else is doing that. Why is he doing it? Because he wants Ford Model E, that's the EV side of the Ford Motor Company. He wants that to run like it's a startup. And guess what? Startups don't make money until they hit a given amount of scale.
McElroy also points out the construction of a new electric vehicle assembly plant in Tennessee and other battery plants as another reason the corporation is losing so much money.
The other thing is this is going to put enormous pressure on the executives who are running Ford Model E to show year-to-year improvements.
Time and consumer spending will tell.
They all seem to forget that it took Tesla over 17 years to actually start making a profit because they hemorrhaged for more than 15 years. So overall, Ford's decision to scale back on the F-150 Lightning EV production in favor of more in-demand options just underscores the complex challenges and strategic considerations facing automakers in the transition to electric mobility. My consensus is, just withdraw your funding to all these politicians who have allowed you to lay off thousands of people, shut down companies in the hope of pleasing just a small minority, because all they had to do was to take it slow. But to go full-scale electric vehicle on everyone, billions of dollars have been lost, which could have been used elsewhere and could have been funneled into other activities and projects that are needed to maintain our current society. The saga continues. As usual, let me know your comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Party Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It'll only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.